I was just picking up on it in terms of what the values are that Zinzino has. Now, if you dig into the back office and go to zinzino.tv and stick in culture as a search, you'll see that there are 3 partners who've actually put up a piece about culture. It's not very in depth. It is a bit vague. It's not very heavily analyzed, if you like, and identifying which ones that Zinzino as an organization actually stands for. But when you start, there's a degree of separation between what Zinzino is and what we are. We're partners who are using Zinzino as a vehicle to generate revenue, income, changing our own lives for ourselves. And the team that we have, it's the culture of our team that matters. And part of that is actually all culture is driven by the values of the culture itself. So it's really a question which I was driving into. We didn't get enough time, nothing like, in fact, to really get into the detail of it. But it's about what values we should hold dear and how we build our culture around those values. Now, we are nominally part of a team that's doesn't really have very strongly illustrated values, if you like. You know, One Mondo's, it's an eclectic mix of different people pulling in different directions, to me anyway, most of which is just, it's kind of dissolute. It's not really together in a way which says, well, this is what we're all doing and this is what we're prepared to commit to do in order to make our team successful and put across the right values that we have and support the overall mission that Zinzino has. So I want to do a session on this, and I'm going to do it. I think we'll try and do this next week, where we actually, after the leader school, because I'm sure a lot of this issue will come out of the leader school. And what I'd like you all to think about a little bit, and I don't want to do it now, but it's to think about what values we as a group should be living by and sharing with people we bring into this as an environment. Because one of the things that I looked at in some detail is, who are we attracting to our business? I can see various reactions. Who are we attracting? And are we putting out the right energy to attract those people? And one of the groups that I particularly pick up on, but there are 2 cores actually. We are now living in a society with over 11 million people over the age of 65. 66 million people in the country, in the UK, that is. 60 million in England alone. So it dominates the UK anyway. Over 11 million of us are over the age of 65, and Sue and I are included in that. But is that the group we really want to get to? Or is it the millennial group and, you know, those born between 1980 and 2000? Or is it Generation Z, which is this new one, which is now coming into maturity? You know, who are we really appealing to? We can't be everything.
It's the old ones.
What's that?
It's the others. It's the over 65s I'm interested in.
Well, exactly. Well, for some of us, that's true. So what I want us to try and have is a clear idea of really what we're trying to attract, whether it's a particular marketplace, but equally what the values are that we're putting out there. And I'd really love, if you wouldn't mind, all of you, give that a bit of thought, write it down, and let's have a discussion about it next week.
I'll put it into the chat so that anyone who's not on here can obviously join in as well. But and hopefully come on to the meeting. Nice to see so many of you, by the way. Right. So Nigel, should we do these like I do one and you do one?
Oh, it's up to you. You can do. Yeah, if you want me to. If you want to.
You've got the notes in front of you, I guess.
I have some notes.
Okay, that's cool. Right. So first of all, Kirsten did this great training the other day of 13 things you have to leave behind to be successful. And I kind of thought about that, and that's actually a really good thing, because we do have to change the way we are, because we're also kind of in our habit of doing stuff and doing things in a certain way, and sometimes you have to break those habits, which is probably really, really hard. So first of all was we're in the health and wellness business. So an unhealthy lifestyle. So one of the things, the number one thing you have to leave, you know, behind is an unhealthy lifestyle. Now, I'm not saying that any of you got an unhealthy lifestyle. I think most of you are pretty damn healthy, which is good. But it's about showing that you are following what you're preaching. And so, you know, I love that saying, you know, you've only got one place to live, you know, take care of your body, you've only got one place to live. And that is such a true little statement, but it's so powerful, because if you're a smoker, now I don't think any of you are smokers here, but if you're a smoker, or if you drink too much alcohol, or do you just, well, sorry about the alcohols, like I have to make sure that Nigel kind of reduces his amount of alcohol.
Never.
never. But it's really, if we're going to be reflecting, and what Nigel said is, we're wanting to attract people who have an interest in health. So if we are sitting there pulling on a fag and like pissed in the corner, that's really not a very good thing to be doing. It's not very good to show that. But it's also healthy lifestyle. We're trying to embody this whole ethos of looking after your internal health, and so improving your external health as well. So taking care of your body, it's the only place we got to live, so we have to look after it properly. You know, when I had my heart attack, I really had to question everything I did, or I did question everything I did. Was I eating correctly? No, I probably was eating too many carbs. I was eating too many this and too many other. Got Tomas coming in now. But the most important thing is that I had to change some of those things. So changing those things makes a difference. And so it's wanting to create, you know, that lifestyle, looking like we're living the dream, so to speak. Hi, Tomas, nice to see you. We are recording this, so I'll keep you quiet, if you will, for a minute. Right, Nigel, number 2.
The short-term mindset. Actually, the whole of our industry is guilty of this in terms of the way it presents itself, and this is not one of the values I think we should espouse too heavily. And that is it's put across as a kind of get-rich-quick scheme, and really it's that short-termism that tends to make people frustrated and and people quit too early because of it. You know, unfortunately, quite a lot of the opportunity presentations present the potential for unrealistic returns too quickly. Now, that's actually depends what you mean by quick, I suppose, because I've always looked at that any networking business as a 3 to 5 year plan, because within 3 to 5 years, you can effectively create a financial independence with a residual income if you build a business in the right way, which is not dependent on your effort. But what people tend to think about or see is the guy standing on stage who says, I got there in 10 minutes, I'm a millionaire, and I've got a Ferrari that I drove here this morning. Aren't I clever? And unfortunately, that's unrealistic for the vast majority of people in the short term, unless they've got an existing huge network that they can shoehorn into some movement from somewhere else. So for us, one of the things we have to be is stayers. You know, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. But it's actually a relatively short marathon when you consider that the vast majority of people work for 40 years, 40 hours a week, and end up with a 40 bob watch and about half as much money as they can actually live on. Whereas with the right structured network, and let's face it, Zinzino is an example of what all networks should be, given the way what the products do, given the values that the business has, and the way it runs its business. This is a solid long-term proposition for anyone. So what we have to be careful is to make sure that the goals we're setting here are realistic in the sense that they can be achieved, but people also have the skills in which to actually develop the environment in which they can succeed. And that to me is about proper training, showing and teaching properly in order to get the daily activity correct. You know, I always use this analogy with McDonald's. You don't buy a McDonald's franchise and start selling pizzas. That's not, but so many people confuse the idea of coming into the network and doing it on their own with their own methods, rather than using the ones that we know work. And it's that training of discipline. Give up the short-term mindset. It's a long-term, it's a long haul. It's the long haul, but it's a relatively short haul in the great scheme of things. So let's give that one up. Sue?
Okay, number 3, gonna have to give up playing small. Playing small, and by playing small, Kirsten kind of reflected that people tend to kind of set, well, I want to be gold, I want to be silver, I want to be gold, I want to be executive. But they haven't seen the bigger picture that actually can come into play. And also, kind of, what do you want? Because if you just want to stay at executive, then that's not going to take you to independent financial freedom. So you need to think bigger than that. And you also have to probably fight your own ego a little bit. And when I say fighting your own ego, so, get out of the way of your own ego, and really just focus in what you want to do, and then work those steps back to how you can achieve things. So number 3 was stop playing small, and stop fighting your own ego. Anything else you need to say on that one, Nigel?
No, well, yes, in the sense that thinking big is important, but it's the daily activity that makes the difference. So it's thinking big in terms of what I want in my life. Yes. Having that vision board, having the goals that you want to, the lifestyle you want to bring into being. But of course, it's the activity you undertake every day that makes the difference.
Yeah.
And so that you break it down into those simple numbers of how many people do I need to speak to today, and measuring that and continuing to build that habit. Because at the end of it all, networks are just about the number of people we connect with. And those of us who've got successful businesses do so because we connect with lots and lots and lots of people. We just get lots of no's as well as lots of yeses. And moving on to the next one actually is excuses. Put them to one side, get rid of them, because we've all got them. I haven't done it today because and actually Kirsten made this point very, very well, because those, and some of you have been on or been through the Born Rich program with me actually, and this came out of he cited Bob Proctor's 333 program, which is essentially a reflection of a situation that happened in Ontario, where a town was very badly damaged by a storm. There's a businessman called Bob Templeton who decided he wanted to help the town. And this is the law of polarity. Effectively, it's everything has opposites, because we can't have an up without a down, and we can't have a front without a back. We can't have a left without a right. It's those things. And he decided he wanted to do something for this town that had been devastated, and very quickly pulled his own team of people together, and colleagues and friends and so on. And he drew a T on a flip chart and said, right, this is why we can't do this. We're going to raise £3 million for the town. On the left-hand side, this is why we can't. And on the right-hand side, this is what we can, or how we can. And all he did on the left was put a big X. And anybody who came up with a negative about why they couldn't, they just said, next, move on, move on, move on. So all they had was a list of things that said they could achieve this. And they literally raised the 3 million in 3 days.
Wow.
And that's where it came from. That's where it's just such a brilliant illustration of, when you get rid of the excuses, you only have the things that can happen that will bring about the positive outcome you're looking for. Then all the excuses go out the window. So what Kirsten was pushing across is, get rid of your excuses. There's always a reason why not, because that's where we've failed to take the action. What he's saying is, get out of that. Think about what you can do in order to make it happen. And I actually came across a piece yesterday where I kind of get these sporadic, random, not quite spam inputs from various self-development gurus around the world, in inverted commas, gurus around the world. But this one really struck me, because he said, whatever you get asked to do that doesn't fit with your short-term goals, say no. So if someone brings you up and says, can you look after my cat? No, I can't. Can you babysit for me? No, I can't. You know, it's whatever you've got to get done. If you haven't got the things done that need to be done every day, don't do it. That's part of his message. So get rid of the excuses was the next one to give up. So
okay, he also put on there, it's not about the cards that you are dealt, it's how you play the hand, which I thought was also a really good thing. So, you know, yeah, everyone's got a certain amount of cards, and it's just how you play that hand of cards. And everyone's got tough challenges, whichever, you know, wherever you are, whatever you do, everyone's got challenges. Anyway, number 5, leave behind the fixed mindset. It's about, so having that fixed mindset is, you know, kind of, we're all used to, I mean, for those who've been in networking before, there's so many things that you can actually, you know, kind of take from one network to another, but not all of them are positive. And so that maybe something that you're actually doing that would maybe in a previous network actually doesn't work with this one. So it's now time to learn new skills. We have to learn the new skills. And so put that time and effort into learning the skills. And one of the things that I was talking to someone yesterday, I did a Zoom for someone yesterday who's looking at the business within the team. And he said, I said, you know, so what's driving you to look at this? And he said, I hate what I do. I've got a disabled child of 14, nearly 14, a cerebral palsy. I want to spend more time with them, but I also want to make an impact on their lives, which is not at the moment. So I said, so, you know, with what you've just said, how much time can you put in? What are you prepared to learn? He said, I'm prepared to learn anything. And I said, well, that's great. And I said, you know, the great thing is we've got GoCore, which is our app that we have with our monthly auto ship. And there are thousands of hours of training there for so many different aspects. So, you know, I'm sure you can find a new skill amongst those that you might benefit. And I think sometimes we kind of think, yeah, well, I've heard it all before. I've been in networking for 33 years now. So I've heard it all before, probably have. But it's the way it's said. And if you just have one sentence that actually kind of switches something in your brain to actually kind of go, oh, that's really simple to do that way. That's really clever. Okay. And, you know, I've had quite a few aha moments, really. So it's learning those new skills. So leave behind that fixed mindset is number 5. Nigel, number 6.
There's no magic bullet.
Oh.
That's it. There isn't. You know, it's not hard work. You just have to fall in love with the work. And if you fall in love with the work, then everything happens because of it. You know, it's like, I forget who it was who said, you know, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So there is no magic bullet. Some people get really, really lucky. And occasionally, actually not occasionally, there's a chap called, well, I won't name him because it's probably unfair in a way, but there was one guy I know who actually sponsored 2 people in a binary. They just happened to be the best people possibly in the world he could have sponsored. And out of those 2, turned his monthly income into, well, you know, it's 7 figures, sorry, not 8, 7-figure monthly income, 2 people.
Yeah.
There are examples of that all over the world. And sometimes you just get lucky. But most of the time, getting lucky means you've done the work.
Yeah.
So there's no magic bullet. Don't rely on it. Now, I bought a lottery ticket yesterday for the Euro Millions. I thought, oh, I'm going to win 150 million. I'm going to be a millionaire, Rodders. What happened? I didn't get an email from them.
Oh.
I know. That's exactly what I thought.
Oh. Never mind.
Still, you know, it's that sort of, you lie in the bath with a glass of wine thinking about what you'd spend the money on. Well, don't lie in the bath, get on the phone.
Absolutely.
So there's no magic bullet.
Yeah. Number 7, leave your perfectionist attitude behind. Oh, This is now. I have great sympathy with this with Kirsten. Kirsten's got OCD, and he's an absolute perfectionist. If you listen to any of his trainings, you know that he doesn't and he doesn't do all this like where was I again? He just so professional. And he said, you know, but being perfect is not always the best way, because if you wait for perfection, if you practice something so much that you think it's perfect, and then all of a sudden you make a mistake in the middle of it. Now that would be me, and I'd be starting again. The amount of times when I'm filming anything, I've started and Nigel hears me, oh bugger, you know, but the perfectionist in me comes out. And you know, like Kirsten, I'm very, very much driven by, I like things done properly. And but quite often properly and perfection is not what it's about. It's about people actually being able to understand or what's the word I want? See themselves in someone else. Like, oh my gosh, she made a really big boo-boo then. She said the wrong word, or she said the wrong this, and or she didn't do that very well. I could do that. They can actually relate to that. That's the word I wanted. They can relate to that because of the imperfections. So being that perfectionist is probably not, you have to get rid of that attitude and just keep practicing. And someone says, you know, kind of, if your order's not correct, if you know, having a hissy fit because your order hasn't arrived or the box is damaged. Okay, just, you know, the fact that it's shipped, that beats perfection a lot of the times. Number 8, Nigel.
Multitasking.
Leave behind multitasking.
Do one thing at a time. We all get distracted into doing other stuff at the same time in parallel. And actually what happens is it just slows you up. So it's work your list. Plan your day, work your plan. It's what I was taught. And then it was refined into put the 6 most important things on your list, and don't move on until you've done the ones that are most important of all. So you never end up with an urgent and important list. You only end up with an important list.
Yeah. And again, I think that, you know, we can be very distracted. I mean, most of us have spent the last 2 years working from home, or in fact 2.5 years now, 2.5 years working from home, and you do get distracted. You just get distracted by the phone ringing, and I forgot to turn it off yesterday in a Zoom. So it's my granddaughter calling me and going, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I had to answer it because I knew she'd continue to phone me. But and I'll just say, I'll phone you back. But being distracted when you need to be focused on it, because if you lose that focus, then you almost lose the momentum as well. I feel that I do. So if I'm going to put in 2 hours phoning, I put in 2 hours phoning. And I know Nigel's far, far more diligent than I am doing this, because I kind of think, oh, I'll just put the washing on and I'll just do it and I'll make a cup of tea. And all of a sudden that 2 hours maybe has gone down to 1 hour 45. So you're actually doing yourself an injustice by doing it that way.
And so what's even worse is social media.
Yeah. So I've yeah.
You've got Instagram, you've got LinkedIn, you've got Facebook, you've got however many others that people are using, and actually they're a distraction. Although if you're really, really good at it, I guess you can build a lot of connections, but you can spend huge amounts of time building connections instead of actually talking to people about what the value in the business and the product actually is.
Yeah, so if you're going to do your social media, do it at one particular time and don't let it rule your day. Because it's very, when you've got your phone with you and you're working from your phone, it's very difficult to not answer an email or answer a call. So my phone's on silent today, you'll be pleased to know.
There's mine.
So good. Okay. Number 9 is leave behind your need to control everything. That's a really good one, because we are control freaks. I think most of us, in one way, we like things done properly. We like things done in a certain way, but you have to leave it behind. You can't control everything. You can't control someone else's work ethic. You can't control. I mean, I don't know whether you made any further notes on that one, Nigel.
I did in mentally, I made the notes about what you can't control is what everybody else does. You know, you can set the scene, and this is part of the reason why we talked about culture, because the more people identify with the culture and the activity of that culture, the more they're likely to do. And networks are a bit of they're kind of an enigma, actually, in terms of business methodology, because if you work for a company nowadays, most of them have got some kind of vision, mission statement, and that's supported by the values that the company espouses and has very often defined. There are plenty of examples of that nowadays, where they define what the corporate values are, and they work towards delivering on those values. Zinzino has a set of values which relate to it as a corporation, but we as a group of partners working together can have a set of values that pull us together in a way which is perhaps not being done right now. Now, in a sense, it's what Edward de Bono called water logic. Effectively, we're being left to find our own level, and that level is individual in nature because we're all individual partners. But actually, when we build a culture, we collectively change that nature to rise to a new level, and that's what we've been driving at in terms of what is the culture that we as a partnership of distributors want to have, and what are our values within that, and why should we live by those? So really, it's not so much about controlling everything, it's having a broader understanding, and a set of feeling comfortable about the culture of the business that we're actually working with, in order to support others in what their personal aims are as well. So, yet we can't control everything, because, you know, Zinzino does the stuff it does and supplies us. So if it's getting it wrong, we can't control that. We can try and influence it, but we can't actually take control over that. We have to live with what we've got and work with that within that environment.
Excellent. Okay, well, you've expanded on that one. Shall I do number 10 then?
Yeah, well, actually, yes, I touched on this one anyway, but go on.
Yeah. So leave behind saying yes to things that you don't support your goals, and say no to things, or say no to things that don't align with your goals. So, and I think we're all very eager to kind of say, yes, 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 I'll do that. And I'm probably one of the worst ones to do that. I'll always say to people, yes, of course I can do that, because I want to be helpful. And quite often that pulls me away from what I was doing. And it also doesn't give any value to, it might give the value to the person who I'm talking to, but it doesn't give any value to my business and developing my, you know, expanding that way. But also having to, I mean, one of my most difficult ones personally is saying no to our daughter. That is really tough. You know, we've moved literally half an hour away now, and it's like, oh, are you free tonight? Yes. Well, can you babysit? Actually, no. You know, so we have said no a few times. So, she was like most disconcerted. She was like, oh, well, I said, well, we did Friday night for you, but I can't do Saturday night. I did say to you I couldn't do Saturday night. And so she said, oh. So she had to get a babysitter, and it cost her, I don't know, 100 quid to get a babysitter for the night. Yeah, they're expensive. I was just seeing Liz's face, and I went, well, she's not paying me 100 quid to do that. So, but it's saying no to people. And, you know, sometimes I said to Nigel, you know, we've moved up here, which is great. I love it. And we're really happy here. But sometimes her diary, her social diary, does not align with mine. And also, I do not want to be giving my every last breath to the children or the grandchildren. But also it stops me doing what I want to do as well. And we do have a life. So we said no, and it was a really tough one to do. And Nigel said, oh, you sure? And I went, yeah. I went, oh, all right then. So he said, no, I can't do that. Sorry.
See, I'm the good cop.
Yeah, he's a good cop. She always goes to her daddy first anyway. But okay, number 11, Nige.
Toxic people. We all know them.
Mm.
Put them to one side of your life, because all they'll do is try and drag you down anyway. And their opinions are their opinions, and they might be opinionated and not particularly helpful.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to dwell on it, but we all know who they are. And it's but it can be a toxic. It's a toxic. Bad news always taints much more easily than good news supports.
Mm.
You can prove that. In fact, I remember Rex proving that in a kinesiological test one day. Nigel Risner did the same thing.
Yeah.
He said, you get one negative in the room, and the rest of the room gets tainted by it. So it's get rid of your toxic people.
And it's, I think the 5 people you spend the most time with are usually, kind of, they reflect what's going on in your life. So if you're looking to improve your business, do not spend your life talking to people who are just going to drag you down and tell you your business isn't going to work, and it's this, it's that. So you just kind of mix with the right people. And I say, what's the saying? The 5 people you spend your time with will be the sum of your worth, or something, isn't it?
Birds of a feather flock together.
Well, no, that's another one. Yeah. Okay. So leave behind your need to be liked. I love this one. But it's so true. We all want to be liked. We all want to be liked, and we kind of go out of our way to probably be liked. But the only way to piss people off is to do nothing at all, which I also love. It's but again, the necessity to wanting to be liked, and that again goes back to saying no to things that don't align with you, in my view. But not everyone will like us. Not everyone will like Nigel or me or Liz or Angus or Sabine or whoever. And don't try to be liked by everybody. That's, go with the people who actually like you and, are happy to work with you based on what you don't try and persuade everyone to work with you. Number 13, Nigel.
Last but not least, give up the distractions, your dependence on TV and social media, and being a voyeur, the fly on the wall voyeur, because they probably don't give you an awful lot apart from a bit of entertainment. If it's entertainment time, that's different. That's downtime. That's recharge time. That's fine. No one's going to argue with any of that, as long as it's not 24/7. No one's going to argue with it anyway on that basis. But what I'm saying is, we probably waste a lot of time watching stuff we don't need to. And when we're not seeing the success in the business we have, and it's a choice about the way we spend the time.
Yeah.
And how we choose to spend that time in trying to advance what our goals are.
Yeah.
And that takes focus and discipline. And I suppose all of this relies upon using your time wisely. It's, what's your time management like? Are you disciplined about doing the 2 hours of phoning? Are you disciplined about putting in the bits of the diary that you can't move, you don't want to move? It may be that you've got a social engagement, you don't want to move that. That's fair enough. That's part of the time and the way you choose to use it. But if it's Zeno time, then it's what's the focus of your Zeno time.
Mm.
And if the focus is not on connecting with people, then it's probably misplaced. Unless it's leveraging some information that's necessary to support a connection of some kind. So reduce your dependency on stuff that doesn't matter too much, I guess, is what we're really saying. We're all good at wasting time. We've all got 24 hours a day. We all spend it in some way or another. But is it taking you towards the goal you've got? And that comes back to, ultimately, it all comes back to why you're doing it.
It was interesting. For those of you who were on the 90-day runner call, which on Monday, that was really good. It was the last of Justin Prince, who's an entrepreneur. It's been really very, very valuable, really valuable. But what he was talking about on Monday was about the necessity to actually disconnect from things. So that means, okay, I mean, for instance, yesterday, Nigel said, I don't feel right today. And I went, okay, so let's go do something. So we went and did some stuff. We went out. I had some things in the afternoon that I couldn't move. So that was fine. I still did those. But we disconnected for the day, which was really nice to be able to do. And it was a pleasant day as well. So we went out, did what we were going to do, and hopefully feels a lot better today. But it was having that ability to actually, you know, kind of not feel guilty for disconnecting. And I was saying to him in the car, and I said, you know, I always feel guilty when I'm not ready for, you know, action and what have you. But then, you know, Justin Prince turned around and said, you need that downtime sometimes. You need that extraction from and, you know, kind of disengagement from social media, the telephone, the laptop, all those things. They're really powerful that you can actually disconnect. But he said you need to disconnect to recharge your batteries. And that's really a focus. So if, you know, every now and then we kind of go, I'm not in the mood today. So if you're not in the mood today, then go do something else. Go out and be in the sunshine and what have you. Or, I mean, the other
careful with not being in the mood. It's very easy to wake up and go, oh, I'm not in the mood.
I said to Nigel, I went last week that we had some glorious weather up here, and I said, I'm going to take a couple of hours off. I'm just going to go and sit in the garden and sunbathe. And it was just so, and it literally recharges my batteries. I know that that's me. Nigel will probably be going, well, I can't sit out in the sun for too long, but I can. It recharges my batteries, and it just makes me feel alive again. And I know there's a few other people. I know Liz, for instance, you know, the seashore and the sunshine, really, you know, powerful impact on her and her well-being. And yet others probably couldn't give a stuff about sitting in the sun, but I do. I love it. I love it. But so that's the 13 points. You can all unmute yourself now, and what do you think? I mean, do you think they're powerful? Because I certainly did. I probably didn't give it as much. Let me just ask people to unmute. So that I've muted. I won't. I can ask Kelly to unmute if she wants, but I shan't be offended. She's packing to go to Oslo, like I am. So if you've got any kind of thoughts about that, I'd be you know, happy to hear your thoughts on it. What are your thoughts?
My thought, because I read also a lot of coach books, right? And it's in line is this, that we're not so focused on our success, more focused on our daily habits. How we live, what is our habits in all the details in our lifestyle, not focus on I want to be silver, I want to be gold. That comes how we can improve our daily habits, our routines. And that's right, we are so often distracted when we're not had no self-discipline.
Yeah.
Yes, and as always, sometimes you have to do again, think about your daily habits, because something can, like me, for example, I want to go back to my habits and want to improve them. Yes, and also another thing, what I learned from this coach books, we do mistakes. Coaches say, do mistakes. Don't hesitate to do mistakes, because you learn from mistakes.
Exactly.
And you improve from mistakes. You shouldn't be not anxious to do mistakes. There's another thing. Yeah.
That's like the perfectionist thing again, you know, that's what I was saying, you know, it's perfection to do a, you know, kind of business presentation or whatever. And if it's not right, I get really cross with myself. And yet people message me after the event and go, oh, that was so good. You were so natural. I'm going, I made so many mistakes, but it's you know, it doesn't, you learn by your mistakes, and I kind of think, oh well, I won't do it that way again. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Sabine.
Exactly. When you want to be perfect, you're not open for new ways. You think you have everything already in your mind, but it's not true.
Yeah,
It's not true.
exactly. Liz, Angus, what were your thoughts on those points?
Definitely daily activity. Daily activity is the key thing. You can have all the aspirations you want in the world, but then you've got to do something about them.
Exactly, exactly. Liz?
I would say be very careful what the voice in your head is telling you.
Yeah.
Because
So-
that's not actually who we are. But all of us, whether we can hear it or not, have a constant chatter going through our minds.
Yeah, that is very true. And I think I'm not, how many times have we said, oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I
But
can't
it's,
do that.
yeah, but it's not us saying that, it's the voice in your head.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
fact that has
No.
been going through your head forever, and you believe it to be the truth, and
Yeah.
it isn't.
It's right. Nobody communicates so much, then it's your own brain.
Well, no, it isn't your brain, it's your mind, isn't it? Going to your head, because we're separated. So it's the constant chatter, the mind chatter, that if we stop and listen to what it's saying,
Leave me alone.
it's usually not
Leave me
true.
alone. No, 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 I have meeting. Leave me alone.
Oh, I'm just going to mute Bobby out for a minute. She's being attacked by someone by the sound of it. Very strange people.
Hey,
But-
I'm in the park and listening the meeting, and some person, obviously holding the phone, and some person told me, "Why are you taking picture of me?" And he almost attacked me. He almost attacked me. Oh my
Is
goodness.
this being recorded?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm going to mute you out for a minute, Bobby. It's okay. So yeah, you're quite right, Liz. It's that constant chatter in your head. Constant
I think
chatter.
it's quite surprising when we stop and listen
Yeah,
to it,
yeah,
what it's
Yeah,
telling
absolutely.
themselves.
Ruth, what are your thoughts on that training?
I thought that was good, and I think some I agree with, some I don't, some I have different views on, and it's really good to be able to do it. In fact, I actually missed number 12.
Number
I
12
think the
was,
conversation went on and I got it confused with number 11 and number
okay,
13.
so number 12 was leave your need to be liked behind.
Right, that was it, yeah. It made me laugh and I didn't write it down.
Okay, so Ruth, you've heard that before then, have you? Yeah, okay. And did you find it of value though, and listening to it again? Good.
Yeah. You
Excellent.
might have to mute out in a minute. Dennis is drilling.
Okay, no problem, understand that. Dermot, what about you?
It doesn't worry me if people don't like me.
Sorry?
I'm saying that last one, it doesn't worry me a damn if people don't like me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Good attitude. Okay. Attitude. What
No,
about you?
the biggest problem I find here is that one person in a different country with no contact really to chatting with people in other countries.
Yeah, well, this is where Zoom is so powerful, because you can talk. That's the whole reason for doing these calls, because we've got four different countries on here at the moment. So we've got Ireland, Germany calling, and Spain and UK. So it's that's about creating that culture that we actually kind of build a team energy.
Which I find is great.
Good. Good. Tomas, what about you there in Ireland?
Well, I have a little voice in my head. It's called Sue.
Dispatcho.
It's called Sue, is it? Oh, okay. It's yeah. I'm always like, have you done this? Have you done that? That's so. Have you heard that? Have you heard the training before, or what did you think of it?
Yeah, no, it's very good and very true. It's the little
Good.
thing. It's the little things you do.
Yeah, and it's you know, that attention to detail and you know, kind of consistency is so important. Romana, what about you, my lovely?
Yeah, because you're still recording. Don't have good hair. Toxic people, and I put them on the side because their opinion is not helpful.
Yeah.
Not mix with the right people. Yeah.
Yeah,
They will
I think
have good influence on you.
I think toxic people can be so damaging to the system.
Oh, yeah.
And damages your confidence, so many things. So thank you for that. And Bobby, what about you, my lovely?
I'm just doing last one. I'm connecting with the nature and with my Zinzino people.
Good girl.
Only.
That's great. That's great. And
Yeah,
so that
entire meeting was wonderful. I'm really grateful, and I'm gonna ponder over it and
what I'll do is I'll
adjust
post this,
myself.
I'll post the recording in the group chat as well.
Please, thank you.
And Kelly, I'm sure you're still packing cases. She's doing something. So it's she's got a very early flight tomorrow from Dublin, so she's getting ready to go. So anyway, listen, we Nigel's saying that he wants to do the next week was the creating culture. Is that what you were on about, Nigel? Yeah, creating culture next week. So
And the new products.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see the new products. But Dermot, if you're going to, I'd love you to be on the, you know, get your recording, you know, kind of in the ticket. So if you're able to, but you know, as soon as it's all launched, we'll kind of disseminate the information as it comes through. But it's going to be exciting. I know it will. But and then hopefully all come to Globen in October. The more people we have, you know, that creates big energy, big synergy. And it's again, it's going to be a good event. So they'll be releasing that as soon as Leader School's over, which will be great. Right, that's it for the day. So it's a long one today. I'm sorry it's been so long. Let me stop recording.